I need you to be precise. Tell me everything about the day he died.
Okay.
I didn't realize it was so high.
Yeah. I went upstairs to my bedroom. That's when I heard Daniel scream.
Anatomy of a Fall is a court drama that makes an art out of ambiguity. It relies on Sandra Hüller's performance and a documentary style of filming to expertly deliver the tension and family drama surrounding this murder trial.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry. But I don't know. You come here, okay, with maybe your opinion, and you tell me who Samuel was and what we were going through. But what you say is just, it is just a little part of the whole situation, you know. I mean, sometimes a couple is kind of a chaos and everybody is lost, no? And sometimes we fight together and sometimes we fight alone and sometimes we fight against each other. That happens. And I think it's possible that Samuel needed to see things the way you described them, but if I'd been seeing a therapist, he could stand here too and say very ugly things about Samuel, but would those things be true?
So, we have quite a few intense actors and actresses in this one. The three main characters, Sandra, Daniel, I think, probably second place, the little boy, and then Samuel, the husband of the family. What did you make to the characters in this film, Alex, and their importance of each role?
Well, very good actually. The Sandra Hüller, the mom, main character, has been nominated for Best Actress for Oscar this year, and you can see that from first 15 minutes. She's key in making this film, I think. The directing around it and the way it's filmed like a documentary is good, but it's essentially a court drama and you're following the characters' intense emotions as they have to peel all the layers of their life because of this incident, basically. And it's not a nice life that they had, but it all sits with Sandra Hüller's way of playing the character, because it keeps you guessing. It's like you're looking at her all the time in court when she testifies and she's grilled by the prosecutors and everybody, the lawyers. There's times when you see her, being on the verge of breakdown in the court, and then right the next scene she smiles and laughs, and you're like, was she just faking it the whole time? Did you notice that, Baz? There's moments like that.
I did, yeah. I feel her body language and demeanour in the film was almost very good at directing, because it kept you guessing throughout the film about her, shall we say, her moral stance, and it actually reminded me of there used to be clips of the Madeleine McCann case, and Kate McCann was seen smiling every now and again, and it's kind of similar to that. It's it's a bit odd when you have a case such as this, and then in the movie, as you say, there's scenes where people are laughing and drinking wine and what have you, and you think, is that the right sort of thing you would be doing when this sort of horror is going on in your life? So I think that's done.
Her husband just died, and you're like already looking at flirting with the lawyer and smiling when you're on your own time, and but there's it's so good because it reveals things about their past steadily. So the film goes and you find out more, and then the son comes into play, the 11-year-old son, which is partially blind, and it's because of one of the parents' fault that is partially blind, but it turns out. And it just adds more gravitas and more tension to the scene, because now you can see, is she actually guilty? Has she actually hit him in the head, the wife? Because you see this, every scene of their fights and their conflict it just peels away another layer of their conflict and a family life. And this son is just in the middle of it, and you're thinking, oh my God, what's going to come out of this person as a human being exposed to this sort of violence and drama in his own family? But yeah, no, acting is key here, and it delivers very well, to be honest.
And the little boy himself as well, Daniel, he kind of really stars in this film, doesn't he? I think he's a great little addition to the film, and you know, he's got a career ahead of him if he can act like that. And I'm not sure if he's actually a blind actor or not, because unless he's got prosthetics on those eyes, because his actual eyes look, they're kind of like white blemish on them, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I'll have to look it up, but he does a very well job, like you said, for his age. Absolutely, he's going to have a bright future.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so let me ask you something, Buzz. The language. So, the language barrier, I would say. So, remember the main character. She is speaking 3 languages. She's German, that has lived in London together with her husband, and now they live in France, so she speaks those 3 languages. I felt I related to this at times because the scenes in the court house are just really impressive. They're really tensioned because this prosecutor, my friend, felt like deserves being run over by a car. That's how well he plays the role. He's this guy that he just literally wants to, he's so abusive right there, invents facts, doesn't follow the facts, and just plays the emotional game. He's trying to make her collapse or like crack under pressure in court, because he just abuses her of stealing her husband's ideas, of making him go crazy and suicidal, of all of these horrible things. And she's in a position where she's in front of her child. She knows her child is watching the trial from the audience, and she doesn't even speak the language. And when you're under pressure like that, I felt before that you just forget, you just automatically, your brain returns to your mother language, and you forget the language that you're supposed to speak and answer in front of these many people. And it's your life on the line too, and the life of your child too. And I was like, just how much more you can add against her, raise the stakes against her, and then you know the writing is brilliant because it throws this language issue. And actually, the lawyer says, "Can you make sure you say everything in French in the beginning?"
Yeah, they kind of put her on the spot with that, don't they? Yeah, and obviously at some points in the film she has to say, can we revert to English because it's too confusing for me and what have you. But yeah, it's like you mentioned, the prosecutor in the film, I think his role is quite well done. I don't know why, I can imagine every courtroom in France being the way this is, even the way they dress and the way they act and the philosophical kind of language and arguments that they use in the courtroom. It all seems very French to me, and I don't think it would have worked with any other country, really. Do you know where I'm coming from? Because the French are quite well-to-do, aren't they? And they like their their mind-boggling kind of ideas. So yeah, I thought that was well done. And as you say, with her being natively German and now being forced to speak French in this courtroom, it kind of adds to the tension. Really,
yeah,
isn't it?
Brilliant. It's a good little plot point that is just dumped there and go like deal with it. Yeah. It's like character. It has to. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, especially when her own private relationship is being inspected with a microscope as much as this is kind of an odd thing to do, isn't it? Really, it's the as I think she says, the chaos of a relationship to be magnified so much in a courtroom with strangers. Almost, it's a bit of an oddity, isn't it?
This film looks like a documentary, Buzz, and the only time when it doesn't is towards the back end of the film, towards the end of the film, when we get to see in court there's a new proof being presented, which is a recording that the husband did of a fight between him and his wife the day before he died, and this is presented in court as an audio recording, but we actually see the scene, which is interesting and a very good scene, to be honest. If you remember this, Buzz, it tends to look at the situation they're in and how they're blaming each other as a couple for the situation they're in. Is that right? What did you think?
Yeah. But that, I think, to be honest, that's probably the scene of the movie for me, is this audio recording, which is found in the case of the two bickering, and mostly from Samuel's point of view, it's very petty, and I think that's the first time in the film I actually felt sympathy for Sandra. Because Samuel's coming from this point of kind of this emasculated man who's blaming everything around him and wants to look for an excuse and everything, even though he's kind of wronged himself and chosen his own path, like she points out. And again, we talked about the language, even the language used in that scene. It's quite poetic, for a couple arguing. And the words that they use, it's lovely to listen to almost. It rolls off the tongue, and it's really raw and very passionate, and it's very good. But yeah, did you find that particular segment was more film-like than to the rest of the scenes with the swaying cameras in the courtroom and the kind of slight zoom-ins, and as you say, almost documentary-like, which I actually enjoyed. I didn't think that was overdone or anything.
So this film, this part of the film is when it looks like a film. The rest of it looks like a documentary. That's what I thought. And the thing that they talk about is, they had to relocate and she had to follow him all the time. The responsibility as a parent for the child, and how the one is a failure against the other. So, she's a successful writer. He's a teacher and wants to be a writer, and he doesn't have the time for it because he cares more about the son, and he needs to deal with his education at home because he's blind, because it's his fault. Apparently that's he's blind. He didn't care for the child when he crossed the street and all of that. And it's almost like it feels so real, as in, dramas like this happen on a daily basis, and there are families in this situation out there. And instead of focusing on being united as a family, they are almost like selfish. They just want, you do your part, I do my part, and everything will be well. That sort of attitude. But it obviously the pressure that they had to with her extramarital affairs and all sorts of things like that is just adds more tension to an already strained relationship between them. That's very well put there together. And it again throws everything under the bus in regards to, did she do it or did she not do it? Or it's leaning towards her, because he was a bit of it was not fair what the arguments he was bringing. But I thought is like, and at this point in the film, you already think, you're already supposed to make your decision already about if she's guilty or not. And then this throws it again under the scrutiny. Is a lesson in ambiguity is what this film is. This just keeps it on.
And theory-based subjectiveness and opinion-based, people's foresight, so to say, And there's a lot of confident talking in that courtroom that could be, given either way, or even just for semantics of the testing of the audio test that they did with the shouting over the music, and then that the body falling off a roof. I loved all that. I thought that was great, and the building, the little building, and the splatter blood marks and stuff. I thought all that was really fantastic and done really well, and it really took it into great detail, didn't it?
Yeah. Indeed. I hope you enjoyed our review of Anatomy of a Fall. Very good film. It's nominated for plenty of Oscars. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and until next time, I shall leave you in peace.